Hello everyone, it's Sagrannus here again with another episode of Sagrannus Gaming Plays World of Warships. And yes, let's get excited because I actually have a new ship. No, it's not the Omaha. That's still there. We're getting to the next ship, don't worry. No, what we have here is the Tier 4 Japanese cruiser. Now, you know, as you may know from my videos, I don't tend to play Japanese cruisers, and there's a very good reason for that. They don't suit the way I play cruisers. They play a little bit too much like destroyers for my liking, without a lot of the advantages of destroyers, like the special abilities. But I thought, well, I better, you know, get some Japanese cruisers happening anyway, in case people are interested. Yeah, just to see if I change my mind. Yes. No, I haven't yet. There are a lot of reasons I don't like the Kuma. The Kuma in many ways is like the Tenryu, only with some distinct advantages. It's got more guns. It's still got the torpedoes. It's actually got, if I remember rightly, 4 aside to fire. Yep, 2-2-2-2, which is nice. It's not too slow. But as I take it into battle, its problem will become readily apparent. It's going to probably be a short battle too. Yeah, so let's dive in. Now, as you should be aware, I'm sure by now, I am an Australian. And I'm not going to talk about what happened on Monday politically. I mean, very smug about it, but I don't really want to talk about it on a gaming channel. What I'm going to talk about actually is Australian culture. Now, you bear in mind that I haven't had a chance to play Mad Max yet, but I have a number of issues with the game based on things I've read. I mean, there may be things I haven't heard that would correct this, but I understand from one thing that quite bugs me is the lack of Australians in Mad Max. Mad Max is voiced with an Australian voice, but a lot of other characters are apparently American. Now, people have defended this in two ways. The first is, of course, oh, it's too hard. I'm sorry, we live in the 21st century. You don't need to get someone, if you're based in America or Sweden, you don't have to go and get an Australian into your studio. You can contact them, Australian voice actors in Australia, get them to go to their local studio and get them to, you know, go and bloody well record shit. Okay? So that excuse is bullshit. It's clear and utter bullshit. It's just, we couldn't be bothered to do it, right? And that's quite disrespectful as an Australian, because it's like, well, Mad Max is one of our big cult classics. It's one of the most successful films of Australian history, and it's very iconic. And it's kind of offensive to fill it with Americans because you couldn't be bothered. Now, the other defense of the Americans is, oh, but there could have been Americans there when the whole end of the world thing happened. Maybe. But if you're an American and I said that really I made the Fallout game and it was full of POMs, that's English people, for those who don't know, you'd be pissed off. If I made Metro and filled it with Americans, the Russians would be pissed off. So can we have our Australians in our Australian post-apocalyptic stories, please? There are other issues I have that I'm not really going to go into in much detail because I'd like to research them further. But I've noticed that at least one of those none of the cars used by Mad Max in the game are particularly Australian. I know they're all ramshackle things, but one would assume that they would use the bodies and chassis from Australian cars. I mean, I know it's not particularly likely, but for the sake of imagery, there are plenty of old Australian cars which would have been perfect for that, rather than these sort of generic, slightly muscle car looking bodies. Right, that's my little Mad Max rant over. Basically, my thing is this. Oh, actually, no, there's one more thing. Now, I'm going to have to look into this because obviously the source for this wasn't particular, but I saw it said that, let's fire these guns. I saw it said that some of the dev team was sent to Costa Rica to look at something. There is no mention in the same section of the article I was reading that anybody bothered to come to Australia, you know, to look at things. So what they're saying is it's more important to get little bits of imagery that they were taking from Costa Rica, right, and not offend them, than come over here and actually look at where you might set it. Because from what I've seen, I mean, once again, I want to do some more reading before I cast a final judgment on this, and probably play the game if I can too. But it seems like a generic desert map, and would it have been that hard to send someone over and actually have a look at our deserts? I know that's a bit of a tantrum and all, but I don't know, I just get annoyed at how frequently Australians can sort of get wiped over. Oh, they're there, alright, they won't be bothered by it, blah blah blah. But it's like, well, if you've got to be racially sensitive and culturally sensitive to everyone else you set a game about, why not show the same level of respect for us? Okay, the torpedoes in this actually have a good range. One of the best things about the ship is its torpedoes. Okay, I'm going to stop ranting about the mistreatment of Australians and culture. And as you can see, you've just noticed a problem. Now, the Omaha is a light cruiser. That meaning it doesn't do a whole bucket load of damage. Sorry, that doesn't take a bucket load of damage. My English skills are not so good today. The Kuma, on the other hand, can take none. I mean, we didn't actually see it this time. It just got shredded. But I couldn't work out the big weakness in these ships for quite some time. But then I discovered what it was when I was sailing into an Omaha against the Kuma. You can fire a shot almost anywhere on a Kuma and you will hit its citadel, and if you hit its citadel you're doing big damage every shot. I mean, I'm talking 6,000 damage on a salvo. And as you can see, it's not as fast a destroyer, it's not as maneuverable a destroyer, it's a lot bigger than a destroyer. It doesn't fire that fast, it doesn't do that much damage, and its torpedoes are good, but if I want good torpedoes, I'm going to just take my... In fact, I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you what I'll do if I want good torpedoes. I get Nisakaze, or any other Japanese destroyer for that matter, and I take it to battle. There, so that Japanese cruiser seems... The Kuma seems, to me anyway, in comparison to its equivalent, which is the Phoenix, which is essentially the precursor to the Omaha, it seems really bloody weak, and doesn't suit my playstyle. I'm sure there are people out there who like it. I'm also equally sure there are a lot of people who only play the Kuma because they need to get to the Furutaka, which is a scary ship to go up against. The Furutaka is an intense ship to fight against. It can, unlike all of the preceding Japanese cruisers, it can take a hit really, really well. I actually get edgy taking them on by myself in an Omaha. I don't think I would be in a Cleveland, but definitely in the equivalent Tier 5 vessel, it is a scary thing to go up against. Now remember, in your destroyer, when you're sailing, if you actually want to not get shot to pieces, especially if there are aircraft carriers, to switch off your anti-air. Now, I know that Wargaming say this, I know that other casters say this, and I will say it as well, and reinforce it, okay? If your ship fires any weapon bar a torpedo launcher, it makes noise. That lets it be seen temporarily. However, anti-air doesn't fire just once, it fires constantly while there's a plane in range, which means you can be in the middle of a smoke cloud and people can see you. So if you want to be alive, you're better off just trying to avoid the planes. Don't try to shoot them, because the AA on especially these early destroyers is absolute garbage. It's at most a deterrent, and even then not so much. You've got to, basically, I know from playing carriers, the only time that a destroyer is going to be attacked by most stuff from a carrier is if it's going for the carrier or it's the last guy on the map. I mean, sometimes they'll try to take him advantage, strike with bombers or something if you're nearly dead and in range, but there are bigger fish for carriers to deal with. Carriers are there to deal with things like battleships and big cruisers. They're not fussed about destroyers until the destroyers start to go for them. Which is what you should be doing. I love to go for cruisers.
Engine boost activated.
Also, yesterday I killed Donald Trump. I don't know if it was really Donald Trump. I don't think I didn't have a peg to Donald Trump as someone who plays World of Warships, but I did manage to sink him. In fact, he managed to drive into some of my Omahas torpedoes. So who knows what's going on there. Okay, now there's going to be a destroyer over there because I can see his smoke. I hope this is actually a good battle because I'm looking forward to upgrading this Isakaze to the Minikaze. Now he's going to go around this island. And it's a Furutaga, so have a look at the Furutaga. What a fucking ship. Oh shit. They spotted me. So this last one. No shooting at me. That's a Minikaze. They're very similar to the Isakaze, I believe. I'm vanishing now.
Smoke generator started.
And now I'm running away because...
Torpedo, starboard!
Oh dear. Oh, I might get away with it. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that one's catching me. That's going to get me. But that was quite painful.
We're all below the waterline. We're flooding quickly.
Well,
Problem
a
solved, sir.
typically unimpressive salvo of torpedoes there by me. Sorry. See if I can't mess up there, guys, a little bit though. My advice, unless you want to die, is to never actually run up against
Engine boost
islands when
deactivated.
there are destroyers around. It limits your available directions to dodge in. I mean, I probably won't hit him with anything, but it makes it very tricky for him anyway. And the Furutaka is deceptively fast, which is why I missed him. Thankfully, he doesn't seem to be interested in me very much. He seems to be more worried about the other things going on around. Okay. That's something there. Bugger. It's annoying. Well, the gun's out. The guns on the Isakaze aren't great. Though, if I hit him... Ha!
Enemy destroyer sunk.
Sorry, that may have been a little bit loud. That was the sound of Sagrannus pouring through. Someone's probably going to be pissed off at me for that. That was a bit of a cheap shot. Now, I hate this thing that he's doing. He's wall grinding, essentially. He may not be deliberately doing it. Because it's very hard to hit someone wall grinding because it's kind of fucks with physics a little bit. In that they gain the magical ability, my shots didn't shoot here, that they're sort of moving forward and sideways faster than they should be able to, because they're slipping on the edge of the world. And that's a bit of a problem because people do know it's harder to hit things like that, and so they deliberately do it to avoid being shot. And it's a bit of a cheap move, and I'd really like Wargaming to actually do something about that and prevent it in the future. Oops! Ran into a Matsuki. This could end badly. Run away from the Matsuki. I'm not sure who actually ran into who. I suspect it was my fault, though. My bad. Some torpedoes in the first one. Satsuki's tier 6. Tier 6. Handsome looking vessel. Looks like a fairly... How am I still alive? I'm sailing like a fool. None of them can hit me. So I'm gonna hit them. Let's see here, it's sort of deceptive. It's gonna cost him his shit, I think.
Torpedoes to start.
Bye-bye. We're winning. They had a lot of destroyers. They've still got as many destroyers as we do, even though we've sunk 2 of them. Well, moving on. I'm sorry, I don't have a news update for you today. I haven't actually been doing my news reading as yet this week. Hopefully they'll come a bit later in the week. Though, Legacy of Void has been announced, as I'm sure you're aware, which is exciting. No shit. That's a lot of torpedoes. He thinks I'm that stupid, apparently. I was watching the launch show just before making this video, and I think it looks fantastic. A lot of StarCraft 1 nostalgia going on there, for me anyway. Memories of the battles on Ire towards the end of the first game. Looks promising. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Blizzard narratives when they don't, rewrite their lore, like changing the Zerg world from a ball of lava in number 1 into a vert jungle in 2, because they tend to change these things and not say why they did. It just seems that like they didn't think ahead when they first planned it, so they changed it. But that aside, they do write very well, and few things are as impressive as a cinematic by Blizzard. So I'm looking forward to it. I played through the first 2 parts of 2 with religious fervour almost. Really enjoying the way they did the presentation of the plot, missions and things. So it was good. So I'm looking forward to that. That's November 10th, if I remember rightly. What else is there? I honestly, I haven't got any other news really. Other than I recommend reading Sallust to anyone. Get your classics on, and there's no other real news at the moment. Actually, no, I tell a lie, I did get Rimworld. I'm playing Rimworld at the moment. I may do some videos on it, I may not. I'm not sure whether I will. I'll see how we go. At the moment, I tried playing on the rough settings with the basic AI and failed miserably, repeatedly. So I'm not sure if I'm going to practice a bit. I'm playing on the less aggressive AI on base building difficulty setting, which is the second lowest. Shame. It's an absolute shame. And I'm going fairly well, so I'm going to see how I go with that and sort of learn the game's nuances, and then I'll look at doing, but I'll possibly doing videos later, because thankfully Lowdown, who've developed it, who are developing it, I suppose it's still in alpha, have been so kind as to say to everyone that it's okay to just make videos of it, so that's good. Whoa, I don't like being under that. Alright, let's see if I can scare the crap out of this battleship. He can see me, so if he decides to fire, I'm screwed, but he's got a lot of banners. And I know that other people have said, oh, isn't it impressive, you can judge how good a player is by their banners. Oh, it's very easy to get banners. Have you looked at any of the premium ships? Most of them come with banners. I missed him, didn't I? Damn fast Japanese ships. not to take out your engines or something, but I don't think I'm going to do that with this ship. Not with bullets, anyway. Sorry, artillery. Bullets. We now have no planes left. That's what that achievement means. Means we don't fuck up. Oh, shit on a stick. That was kind of expected. Alright guys, well, I've been Sagrannus. This has been me, once again, demonstrating just how terrible I am with ships. It seems that every time I have a good game, no one's watching. And every time I try to get people to watch, I miss it. I think I distract myself a bit with my rants. Kuma. God, it's going to be a slog to get through that ship. Still love the Isakaze though. It's quite good. And I do want to just finish this video on a bit of a special note. It goes out to someone who's recently lost everything, basically, for being an absolute arsehole. So to Mr. Tony Abbott, the former Prime Minister of Australia, I have one thing to say. Sucked in, you stupid, racist, misogynistic bastard.